Hello everybody and welcome to Chaotic Neutral Games, and this which is our 49th, and this is genuinely the 49th episode of The Benefactor. I'm here with Kate, Corinne and Felicia. Nick is currently in the US at the moment with the lovely Roan. If you remember early episodes of the show, Roan and Aiden were in quite a lot, but real life means that they're off doing other exciting things right now.
Aiden?
Before we get started with the game, I just want to talk a little bit about the stream, because we've talked a lot about it normally when technical issues come up, and we've talked about it to each other off screen, but I think it's good to say a little something now. So when I first started with the idea of going into Twitch streaming or just generally sharing a D&D game with the wider world, I made that decision, which I'm sure a lot of other people have had to make as well, of going to podcast or going to Twitch stream. Now, the temptation was, of course, to go to podcast, because if you're only having to deal with one thing, audio rather than audio and visual, then it's much easier to get a higher production value. And being a big fan of Heroes of Renown, of Puzzle in a Thunderstorm, and a lot of other guys who have got a really crisp podcast, the temptation was there. But then I decided, what did I want to do with this sharing of a D&D game? And especially considering we're sharing it over the internet. And I realized that the visual element was something that was really important. And the reason why it was important is that it was important to me when I first discovered Twitch. And not to go into it, but I was going through a really crappy part of my life. And it just felt good to be part of a community where I could throw something in on chat and get something back. Now, of course, you don't get that with a D&D game. But what you do get is, if you contact us, we will, in the next stream, in the next recording, be able to share something back with you and, answer a question back, or just give a shout out or some support, whether you're an artist or you do music, or as with Geeky Clean, our friends there, and you're making bath products. Just a general sense of community, and being able to communicate that to you with the audio part of it as well means that it's been worth all the technical issues and will continue to be so. A lot of people out there, especially if you look for the looking for party or looking for DM boards that are out there, are without D&D, shock horror, I know, but also feeling quite lonely. And I'm hoping that anybody who's watching this, anybody who's out there, knows that when they're watching Chaotic Neutral, for all of our problems, for all of the tech issues that we get from time to time, and the fact that we're bouncing all these audio and visual streams across the globe to be able to make this, that it's still worth it. It's still worth it for us. We're still having a great time, having a lot of fun. But also, when you're coming to Chaotic Neutral, you're coming to a place that accepts you for who you are, no matter how bad things are out there at the moment, whether you're in the US or the UK with Brexit or Trump or any of that other crap, that you come here and we accept you for who you are, and hopefully we'll be able to do enough shenanigans to put a smile on your face. And that'll continue to be how it is. So I'll keep plugging on with the humble hardware that I have, and continue to write and put on stupid accents and hopefully raise a smile with anybody who sees this. Whether you're seeing this on Twitch or on YouTube, please contact us. We have a Discord channel that you can get hold of. If you're on YouTube, we have a link. If you come over to Twitch and have a look on the Twitch info underneath, there's a link that'll come straight through. Say hi. That's what we're here for. We're here just to build a community. We don't care how small it is. So, with no further ado, let's start with episode 49 of The Benefactor. everybody. Welcome back. So, hello to the players. Hello. Let's try that again because I didn't click on mute fast enough. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
That was me. That wasn't technical issues. That was me being an update. So, you are currently walking around the city of... Remind me, Felicia, are we walking around Zanya at the moment?
No, we're in Neka.
You're Neka. Oh, okay, yeah. Which is the artisanal city. That's right. You teleported across, I remember now. You teleported over to this artisanal city, this city that has a kind of Moroccan and Byzantine architecture, but with this kind of strange Art Deco, high magic type of look to it. Most of the main thoroughfares here have stalls in the middle of the street. There's normally a small pavement in the middle of the street dividing two thoroughfares. If there were cars and things, they'd be going one way and another. And also a lot of stores. You notice that everywhere here, most buildings at floor level have some sort of store that's inside. And we left off with you speaking to a strange goblin with a pompadour look, who has this very, very strange
oh yes,
shop.
I was looking for a wand of wonder because I wanted a toy because you wouldn't give me my other toy and I was very sad.
Yes. You didn't get your other toy yet.
Yeah.
So you are in there, and he's been there saying, "So, you got anything for me?" And at that point, Glory reaches into the bag and pulls out the garish enchanted suit
that growls.
That growls. This strange.
And it's pastel colored, if I remember correctly.
It's a pastel-colored leathered catsuit.
It's monstrosity.
That growls and writhes, and it is disgusting. I mean, I am disgusted to have created it in my head. But this was considered conceptual fashion for a highbrow shindig that you all went to many sessions ago now.
Yes, Eclipse was not happy.
Yeah, when you were back in Ostergald. And you're about to pull this out and show it to this goblin.
Yes. He asks for something weird.
Okay. So you pull it out and he goes and kind of wrinkles his brow as if to say, "What the hell is that?" And then it starts to writhe and there's this sudden from it. And he goes, oh my word, and pulls out this little kind of it's like a jeweler's magnifier that he puts to his eye, and as he tries to cradle one of the limbs, let's say a leg, to look at it closer, the suit itself actually twitches in his hand and writhes over his hand and he goes, "Oh!"
I had to wear that to a soiree. It's garish. It's garish.
High fashion, darling. High fashion. And Faye enchanted, dear.
It's lovely. I assume that you're willing to part with it?
For the right price, yes. Of course.
Eclipse is gonna let...
Trade or coin?
Trade, I believe. Eclipse found something she might enjoy.
I look at the Wand of Wonder.
and you pull out the Wand of Wonder and he goes, "Sold." And just he tries not to pull it from me. He knows who is holding the other end of this suit, and frankly, he doesn't want to be murdered. But he goes, "Sold." Looks at you as if to get permission, and kind of gives it a gentle tug, And you let it go. He holds it to himself and goes, oh, and he goes, and just to remind you that when the suit growls, it isn't exactly an elegant growl. It's hardly the growl of a cat or a bear or even a dog. It is the growl of a PVC catsuit that has been under friction with itself and then finally given and gone. Right? This is not an elegant growl. It's a pathetic growl. Yeah, it is as much noise as a piece of fabric can make. The noise is not magical. I mean, how it makes it is magical because it animates to that level, but it hasn't got lungs. You have a feeling that one of the shoulders might be made out of a lung, but it doesn't have active lungs. And so, yeah, this awful leather catsuit thing, you steel yourself, dig down deep, and you part with this sentimental garment that, it's been with you a long time. I know it's difficult.
Yeah, so difficult.
You trade it for a wand of wonder. Please add that to your character sheet. At this point, I should actually look up what the wand of wonder does because I can't help but feel I'm being stiffed here.
It's a random. It's literally kind of a fun thing to play with because what it does, it has a random effect. Is what it does.
Let's have a look for. Oh god, here we go. It really does, doesn't it? So this wand has some charges that you can and it regains some at dawn. You roll a D100 and you can cast, amongst other things, slow, fairy fire, gust of wind, detect thoughts, stinking cloud. You can make rain appear, lightning bolts, an animal just appears near you. You make 600
darkness, invisibility on yourself.
I don't want to go past the cloud of 600 oversized butterflies.
I
prefer that to fireball.
When you cast fireball, but it doesn't say on yourself.
Oh no.
You
the
don't
target
know where it's
skin
going.
turns bright blue for 1d10 days.
No, because I do choose a target. I can choose myself. I can either choose myself, or I can choose a point in space, or I can choose a target.
Yeah. So the way it works is that if it says you cast lightning bolt or you cast slow, it goes to that target. But there's some things that say very specifically you cast invisibility on yourself, at which point it cancels the target and applies to you. Yeah. So you say that's my intended target. If anything happens that is bad, put it there, and if not, it'll come to you. It makes leaves grow out of you. It can stun you. So yeah, I'm good with this. I'm good with this.
Again, it does a bunch of different things, and I thought it would be funny.
Yes. She wanted a funny toy, and she got one at the price of her prized growling pastel leather.
Oh yes, I am so gutted.
Yeah. I mean, how are you going to be able to survive in high society now that you haven't got this piece of haute couture?
A stream of 1d4 times 10 gems, each worth 1 GP. Shoots with a one tip, and like 30 feet long and 5 feet wide. Each gem deals 1 bludgeoning damage.
Yeah.
And the total damage gems is divided equally among all creatures in line.
Yep.
Delightful.
Yep,
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, you give it to me. They say, "Such good business, my lady. It is such an honor." And grinning maniacally, he puts this fabric to his cheek, and once again, this kind of fart in a catsuit growl goes on, and he's there. I shall treasure it always. And he slinks back to the desk, giving these kind of little mock bows as he backs away. And unless there's anything that you would like to try and roll randomly for, and see if you want to buy them.
Sure.
I would love to just look around, because Eclipse got something fun, and why not?
Okay.
Just take a quick look around.
I think I forgot my D20s in the living room, so I'm just gonna go and get them really quick.
Oh yeah, go come and get them. Yeah. Right. So let me bring up So, give me, and this place is very much a place of bric-a-brac. So give me a D100. Well, first of all, give me a investigation check as you rummage through the shelves.
I can help. I am very good at investigation. Glory, I can help. I'm very, very good at the investigation.
But you don't know what Glory's looking for.
Oh, okay.
Glory is rummaging. Yeah, I'm going to go with Glory is rummaging here. In fact, you're all having a bit of a rummage. Unless Glory asks you to look for something specifically, you can't really help her because she doesn't know what she's looking for.
Yeah. A 15 on the D20.
Okay, a 15. Good to know. So let me plug that in. Okay. So roll me a D100.
Okay. 96.
Oh, wow.
96. Okay. So there is something that you do find. And the second that you pick it up, you're like, I remember these. And this is a small length of fabric vine. So this kind of fake fabric flower stuff, which ordinarily you wouldn't be seen dead with. But it's not intended to be a flower. This is a length of... it looks like ivy. Very, very small ivy, small leaves. And you remember that if you braid this into your hair, you get advantage on climbing checks. It doesn't require attunement, but it does require braiding, which takes about 10 minutes. And you can just have it in, and if not, you can give it to somebody else. And bear in mind, you are now on a finite amount of gold, even though you're back home.
Yes, of course.
Your family believe in paying your own way. So, you remember this was something that a lot of girls that were off to meet their paramours would use, because Tezcatlipoca girls don't wait for other people to climb up their trellis. They go off climbing up other people's.
Of course.
So
could be useful, potentially.
Yeah, and you double check. You put your opal over your eye, and sure enough, it seems to be shimmering with a small magical signature. Most of the other stuff is bric-a-brac. You do find a small silver jug and a small mirror set in a painted wooden frame. And you find a locket that seems to have some sort of noble family inside it.
Not interesting.
No.
Can I have a look, Simon, for random things? Unless Cora wants to do it first.
You already have your random thing that you picked out.
Well, that was one specific thing I was looking for, but yes. Investigation then, Simon, yeah?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm just gonna...
Sure.
Nice.
So, and the modifier on that, I don't know if it makes it, if it is +8, so that's a 28.
28, yeah. When you are fumbling about inside, you do find what seems to be a mostly empty bottle And when you take the bottle and you pick it up, you go, and suddenly there's this rush of emotion. And you take a very small amount around the side of the bottle and you put it in the side of your gum.
Mhm.
And you look around, and the second that you look at, let's roll here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The second that you look at the goblin, oh my god, this goblin looks good. You just hadn't seen him from the right angle, surely, because right now you can see, the tall pompadour wig, the ruffles that are stained by bits of his lunch, the threadbare velvet kind of pipe jacket. It just all works, doesn't it? I mean, he's just so dapper. You're not speciesist. You could certainly for a goblin, and the second that you kind of get to the zenith of this thought, you go, okay, so I know what this does now.
It's a love potion.
And when you read the side, you can't quite... Oh, actually, no, you've got an arcane background. You look at some of the symbols there, and you realize that this is the cordial or squash version of a filter of love. It just needs water. You put water in it, and it will make it up. Other than that, it's kind of dried at the bottom. It's like caked around the side. And all you have to do is just reconstitute it with a little bit of water or a little bit of whatever. And yeah, wow. And you think that it might have just been thrown in there because they didn't get that it was desiccated? Where they go, oh yeah, it's gone off, but somebody might like the bottle. And the bottle itself, this little elegant bottle, looks like a little perfume bottle. And yeah, you find a filter of love.
Oh, I put squash down. Oh, nice. It's like I didn't get yeah, so that was for my natural 20, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, because you did.
The level of the investigation check just decides which column on the table I choose. So the D100 is what you find. That is pretty much
I
random.
haven't rolled the D100. That's why I was confused about.
Oh, you said natural 20 and then 20 something, and I took the 20.
Yeah, so the 28 was the. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll take the filter of love.
Yeah, I was about to say it's still cool.
Yeah.
And Cora, would you like to do a bit of a rummage yourself?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Did you say it's investigation?
Yes.
22. As
Okay.
my investigation score.
Good to know. And please roll a D100.
$92.
92.
Ooh. High numbers today.
Yeah.
Okay, so for you, you can see this beautiful, it looks like some sort of a vanity mirror. And you know that it's a silver mirror, so it's not a glass mirror. It's meant to be travel with, and you think it'd be a good gift for somebody. And I don't know, you just seem a little bit drawn to it. And if Glory wasn't doing the rummaging simultaneously, she would have told you that the only enchantment on this mirror is that people get really drawn to it. Yeah, it is enchanted with you want to buy this mirror. But you don't get as far as that, because as you're rummaging around and you're kind of just pushing stuff to one side to get to it, you nudge something off the shelf and something drops off, and there's this little squeak, and something seems to kind of shoot across, not across the room actually, it's probably about 1.5 meters, do me a favor and roll a d8.
Oh.
Oh, I
guess
don't.
it. No,
Corinne.
One.
A one. So
I haven't.
this little bundle of things, it's 2 or 3 things, hits the floor, and what you can see is that a book hits the floor and opens up, to a random page, and it hits the deck, and then out from that, this tiny little, you think it might be like a stuffed toy or something, goes boop with this little eek, and then with what looks like what kind of graphics are we thinking of here? I'm thinking like the apparition graphics from Harry Potter, but in reverse. The apparating as opposed to disapparating. It just goes whoosh 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 whoosh, and there's a little rat just sniffing around. Seems to be friendly. Comes up to you, sniffs your ankle, and as Corinne has correctly determined, you walk up to the book, take a look at what this magical book might be. The book is empty, it's just a decorative writing book, but underneath it is a small bag covered in rust. You have found a bag of tricks.
Ooh.
You can pull out animals. It's great.
A bag of tricks.
I will read it out to you. This ordinary bag, made of rust cloth, appears empty. However, reaching inside the bag reveals the presence of a small fuzzy object. The bag weighs about half a pound. You can use an action to pull the fuzzy object from the bag and throw it up to 20 feet. When the object lands, it transforms into a creature you determine by rolling a d8 and consulting the table that corresponds to the bag's colour. See the monster manual for details, but we can give you all that. The creature is friendly to you and your companions, and it acts on your turn. You can use a bonus action to command how the creature moves and what action it takes on its next turn, or to give it general orders such as to attack your enemies, or in the absence of such orders, the creature acts in a fashion appropriate to its nature, which is why the rat is currently sniffing your ankle. It can smell some food you've stepped in. The street's quite clean, but you stepped in something earlier. Once 3 fuzzy objects have been pulled from the bag cannot be used again until the next dawn. And the creatures you can pull are rat, owl, mastiff, goat, giant boar, lion, and brown bear.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, because I use Campaign Lab as my encounter generator, you can just say, I use this bag, we'll roll, we'll determine what it is, or if you keep a list on you, you can say, Simon, I have a giant goat, or I have a giant boar, and I'll go, yeah, sure, and because I've got Campaign Lab, I can just press the plus icon, type in giant boar, and it will just put one into the initiative running for me, and it will do what you command. This is a serial course. If you buy it, as,
Right, yeah,
as Felicia
gonna
has
go ask how
rightfully
much
said.
this is.
Oh, coin purse. I'm afraid I can't get the rust out of the cloth, you see. If you like that kind of thing, I mean, it's like more of a burnished tone, and he kind of goes like that over his eyes, and you realise he's wearing eyeshadow. And he goes, it's a bit more of a burnished tone. It doesn't really work.
I quite like it. It's.
I
rustic.
would part with it for. Give me a deception check because he thinks it's a coin purse.
Well, we're all charisma people here, so we should be fine, I say.
Yeah.
Deception. Oh, okay. 13.
13, okay. His passive for that, unfortunately, is 14. And he goes,
Yeah, I rolled a 5.
Is there something I don't know about this? Because he was admiring his suit when the rat was generated.
I mean, I don't really know, but it just made a rat.
Oh.
Or a rat fell out of it? Maybe you got rats?
He plunges his hand in and goes, Oh, I see. And he throws one of the little furry balls on the floor. Roll me a d8.
7. A lion.
A lion jumps out. And he says like, oh, how fantastic.
Wow, I just got a rat.
What happens when a lion sees another cat?
The lion is obeying the goblin at the moment, and he goes, I clearly had something more than I thought, but as amazing as it is, I don't think I'd have a use for it. And you can see, I'm not going to get you to do an insight check. You can see he's slightly terrified about this lion. You know, he lives for the finer things. He was hoping he was going to get like a cat, or ideally, if it was reading his mind, a Pomeranian. But a lion, as spectacular as it is terrifying the hell out of him. Bear in mind, this small creature, this lion's bigger than him. And even though he knows he can command it, he's just like, I tell you what, I'm willing to do a deal because of your generosity. 500.
500 gold?
Do we have, what do we have? Because we haven't really kept track
How about
of
a nice
gold,
bottle of red? And I pull out a bottle of red wine.
Is this the expensive stuff that you guys
I don't know. I didn't write down it's expensive.
Yes.
I just wrote down
expensive stuff.
Oh, I wrote down 3 bottles of red wine. I should add expensive.
Okay. He snatches it off you because you're not Glory, and he goes, where did you get this?
I think we got it in a dungeon somewhere.
I can't remember why we got it.
How much is it worth? If it's more than 300 or 500, whatever you just said, then let's talk about some extra stuff.
And this is the point where, okay, Cora's just said what she said, but Glory, you know, because you sat around this stuff. Yes, there are bottles of wine that go into the thousands of gold pieces. If you give it to the right buyer, but it is still wine. And he looks at it and goes,
how about the bottle for the bag and this? And I hold out the vine thingy Glory found.
Wait, is there something more to this
I will
bottle?
call it even. Glory. No, Cora, it's just expensive wine. I looked it over, remember?
Sure, but Kate is looking at how the goblin is reacting and thinking that
so
there's
the goblin
more to it.
The goblin skitters over to his desk because when he started talking about this, he came up. He likes the personal touch, and he walks up to his desk, pulls out one book, throws it over his shoulder, pulls out another book, flicks through it, pulls it through, and goes, current guide price, 230 gold pieces a bottle.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's I mean, I'm not a big wine person, but yeah.
Cora, didn't we have 3 of those?
Yep. Yeah, I only got 1. Yeah.
3.
We got 3 and some fancy thing in a box, but I think Farewell might have that.
Not that one. The bottle.
Are we trading them?
Yes, you are, because I'm not going to let you leave until we've come to a deal.
Okay.
Happily take gold.
I want this filter.
We also maybe need some money to get back to Ostgold.
We have Cora.
So
down.
let's put the items in the balance, shall we? The 3 bottles. There are only 3, yes?
Yes.
I dig out the other 2 bottles and hand them to Glory.
When you pull out the second one, because at this point he's kind of thinking you might be bullshitting him, when you pull out the other 2, there's a little
Well, we found someone who likes wine, so to sell him to.
Okay. So,
Oh yes, because we found these in the
In
middle
the balance,
Yes.
we have the 3 bottles of red wine.
Mm-hmm.
You have a very good quality bag of tricks. Fantastic with the children. Keep them away from the lion. You notice he has mentally shushed the lion over to the other side of the room, and the lion's just like sat down and then lying down.
I have the
and it
rat on
just
my
has its head on
shoulder
its
right now.
paws. Yep.
The animals will come a good. Will have a good relation with Tuck, I believe. He'll
The
have fun
hairpiece.
with new friends.
The hairpiece.
Mm-hmm.
I found a fancy bottle.
You also have the suit, remember?
The suit was for the one. That's a transaction that's already happened.
Yes.
I think, because I want to be fair and I want to make sure you do not leave in disgust, all the items that you've just picked up and 200 gold pieces.
200. How much is that in platinum?
That's 20.
20.
Glory just picks up 20 platinum and puts it on the table.
No, it's for
No,
us.
no, the other way round, Glory.
Ow.
Jesus.
It was the other way around. God, I wasn't thinking right.
Isn't it? That's what I'm thinking.
Or which way did you mean, Simon? Because that wasn't clear to me. But that
Which
might
way?
just be my brain today.
Oh no, he's going to give you 20.
Okay, then
20
forget that.
additions.
Just like, yes, I do believe that would be sufficient.
Is this really that
Yes,
useful?
correct.
The
Yes,
bag.
it is. Don't
Really?
question it.
It's a bag. It's a
Okay.
bag
Mhm.
that can spawn a rat. I'm not sure how useful that is when trying to fight, the hierarchy of Ostagarl. That's all.
Shh.
I love games like this that are just like
Okay.
Big
Whatever.
things right now.
Oh,
It'll be fun.
Maybe armor is more important. I don't. Whatever. You're the shop person.
well, we're
The
just
armors are paid for with mithril. I say out of character.
Also, Cora, we aren't likely to find us an enthusiastic of buyer of these wines.
Sure.
The goblin turns around and says, "Deal?
I do believe so, yes.
Fantastic!" Takes the bottles and kind of, shoos away like it's tap that you've got here.
Mm-hmm.
Shoos away the things. Bear in mind, he doesn't know that the little bottle that you've got is a love filter. Yeah, because at that point he didn't even talk about it. He was talking about the bag with Cora, so he was able to gauge her reaction. And he quickly goes behind the counter, pulls out 20 platinum, and he goes to just slap it on the table as if to say deal done, and then remembers who he's talking to and kind of offers it with a sycophantic offering of his hand.
Thank you, dearie. I do believe we have to go now.
It has been a pleasure to deal with a Tezcacoatl. And you guys go out, and as you go out, he doesn't slam the door like in your back, but you're like half a meter away where the door slams and you notice the open sign turns around to close.
Oh yeah, we just made his week.
Wow.
Oh,
Apparently, he really likes expensive wine.
yes, he does. Oh, I hate dealing with him. I've had to reintroduce myself 5 times now. But does he remember? No. Oh, his luck is one of Mother's favorite pawn shops. Buys any crap you find, really.
Well,
Right.
I still have rat. Like, I stopped pulling out one of the metal hooks that I picked. I was like, I still had like this and a carpenter's kit.
Oh no, those are
and a
better given to
gardening
Uncle
kit.
Revenant. He would have so much fun.
That doesn't sound good in any way.
No.
Well.
So do we get 50 gold each, or have you just taken all of that glory?
Oh no, we get 50 each. We'll have to divide it up when Farewell gets here, but yes. You can take his share for now. And she just hands you 10 platinum, like it's nothing. And then 5 to Eclipse. But I gave Cora Farewell's part. Too.
No, I was going to say, like, don't we just have party funds, because I hate managing gold.
Meh. I have kept track of Glory's gold, so you should keep track of yours.
I have not really gotten any gold, because we haven't been paid, really.
I seem to have 121 gold and 84 silver, but I'm not sure, like, for how long I've been keeping track of that well. But that's what I'm on at the moment. That's what I'm gonna go with.
This has been part of the fact that you guys have mostly had all of your things paid for.
Yeah.
Or acquired by Renata Green. You know, that's kind of what she does to people. And if I look back up to last session or a few sessions back, there was a thing I put in the Discord chat that says that you've got a party fund of insanity on top of your on top. Yeah, here we go. On top of your regular thing. So you've got a bead of force, a charm person scroll, a drift globe, a folding boat, magic weapon scroll, 3 potions of healing, 1 potion of water breathing, and then above that it says that you have
the treasure.
Yeah, 2,560 copper pieces, 63 electrum pieces, 1,130 gold pieces, 24 platinum pieces, and 535 silver pieces. What I will do...
Write that down properly then.
Those are the party funds, and then we have these that are separate for personal things.
Oh, right. Yep. I wrote down 1,130 gold pieces of stuff.
Yeah.
But
that was the materials and general, like,
I need to write that down
engineering and blacksmithing stuff that we just picked up from the...
Yeah. I've just put it into the player chat in Discord so that you can look at it again. So it's right at the bottom.
I'll grab that in later when I don't mess up.
Yep. So you've got quite a bit of gold.
And,
okay.
Who's looking
after that exactly then? Like, because we were just piling that into a bag of money.
It's in Jerome.
Jerome has all of the party funds, obviously.
No, I didn't think Cora would be up for that. Because you control Jerome.
But our son can take care of our money. You know that.
Okay,
so Cora has 121 gold.
I've got to explain this now, thanks to you guys. So, for anybody who might feel that we are advocating keeping your gold in your sun, with reference to the sun in this case is a mimic. They managed to find a runt mimic that was mimicking being a money box and had been trained to keep gold and things inside himself. I would say you can't fit all of this in Jerome. You could get...
It's the fantasy of it all.
I'm going to say that you could fit the gold pieces and the 24 platinum pieces, but the rest is in one of your bags of holding. And Jerome is basically the same weight as a regular chest now. He is a really heavy little mimic.
No, I was going to say 1,130 gold is not much at level 8. It's we have not been paid as much as we should have.
Well, that's because we haven't been paid. We were given everything.
Yeah.
Dangerous game, man.
And besides, Gloria at least has some money.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys haven't needed to... You guys haven't needed money up until now. And that's the point. So you have the rest of the city to yourself, but most of your purchases, I believe, have been made.
Yep.
And so there is some 2 things. First of all, Glory, you do have an idea, and I'm going to say that Eclipse didn't just suddenly go, I want a headband of intellect, just blurt it out in the street. I'm going to say this is a previous conversation that you have had. Because it helps with the narrative. Because it was a surprise to me, but it doesn't have to be for you. I
just thought of it when I was like, oh, that would be really useful.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that you have done a certain amount of background checks regarding what you consider to be the priorities for the party. So you will have done certain checks for Farewell and for Cora and so on. And if you wanted to do a check to see whether or not you get some inkling regarding this, I will allow you to. And I will say that you have banked a certain amount of lore with the courtesans. So I'm going to roll 3 dice, 1 for each courtesan. And you can use these in place of any lore checks that you have whilst you're here. So I've rolled pretty well, actually. A 15, a 16, and a 19 that you can apply to any check whilst you are in your home district. Okay, so this is Atolzaran knowledge that you have been given in general that you can apply. And you can just replace a roll with that, but only for lore checks. Okay, and this is representing lore checks, about local lore checks. So I'm going to give you 2 options, Felicia, because a lot of the story for the other characters is coming through you at the moment. I'll tell you that if you wanted to pursue Eclipse's headband of intellect, you think you might know somebody in the game that will have it. So the game being the political game that you have, the one-upmanship game that happens in Atolzaran, that is positively encouraged by Freynia. You think you might have some idea of something that could help.
And our plan is to take it from him.
Yes.
Or you can follow your instincts, because currently you can feel a familiar presence. Ooh. At the moment, it's just like butterflies in your tummy being pulled in a particular direction, but it's a familiar feeling.
So, ladies, what should we do with the rest of the day? I know we talked armor, but those will have to be commissions since, well, you're a bit off the average size of a Tulsaran, unfortunately. There'll have to be adjustments.
I thought they did things for people with tails all the time.
Yes.
Do we need to go and get something measured up and started, or are we waiting for Farewell to get back?
I kind of want to see what Farewell found first before we go down that route.
True, maybe he found a good place.
You never know.
Weird that he hasn't. He has just left. I might.
Glory, I will say that you do know that you can just go and get fitted at any place now and say, "You there? I want to have my measurements," and they will measure you for clothes, for armor, for all that stuff. Write it down on a piece of paper for you, because there is a trade called a fitter.
We can just have a fitter do it. It doesn't take that long, you know. But I was thinking a little bit. I do believe I know one way we can get that headband for Eclipse. See here? And she shushes them a little bit closer. So, I know this guy who is, well, he was always a bumbling idiot, but then he suddenly got smart. So, he's cheating at the game, which means that if we wanted to, we have ample reason to, well, eliminate him.
relieve him
Yes.
of his problems. I'm happy to take that. Do you have any other... Before we go and take things that people should not have, is there any other way you can think of?
Well, it depends. Do you want to grovel in front of Insight?
Not particularly. I can ask nicely, but I'm not gonna grovel.
Exactly. Other than that, I want to walk in that direction. I have an idea.
And I'm going to say that if you wish, you can go to a fitters and just say narratively that you will have your sizes.
Yes, we go to fitters and have our sizes. Hooray. We don't need to roleplay getting ourselves fitted.
Unless you want me playing another flamboyant tailor, then...
No. You're fine for now.
Yeah. Right. So, let's get this set up. Would you like to go to following Glory's gut, her instinct, or would you like to go to one of Glory's contacts and find out a little bit more about this this person with the headband?
I guess we can follow Glory's. We're just kind of following Glory at the moment, so whatever she decides is like...
Yeah.
I don't have as many contacts in this city. It would be easier to collect some more knowledge back in Sanya, so we could do that later tonight with more ease.
Sure.
There's that lady. Nah, wouldn't work. Yes. Let's take a walk, shall we? I have a good feeling about this.
Okay.
Got a bad feeling about this.
You start to walk through the city, and you can hear this kind of chanting. And it's kind of this da 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 da. And Glory starts to smile slightly, and there's a drumming. It's not very good drumming. I mean, it's not like kind of like a kettle drum drumming. More kind of like the start of We Will Rock You. Yeah? And you turn the corner as this is really getting quite loud. And you can see that there's this huge mob that's in one of these small squares, like you'd probably find in Italy, for example. You know, these little courtyards. And once again, there are little stores and things there, little bric-a-brac stores. Some of them seem to be mostly food related. And you can see that they do have a few people coming out of these stores and offering food to the crowd for cut price. And there's a raised dais. And standing there on this dais is there's a couple of paladins, which means for the first time, everyone other than Glory, it's the first time, you've seen a paladin of Tiamat. You can see that they have their armor is enameled in the colors of the dragon. So the breastplate and the helmet and the greaves are all in this dark, almost burgundy red. And then the arms have sections. So it's split in half. Pauldron, and then the arm, and then the gauntlet. So mid-arm, gauntlet, top arm, pauldron. And they are the colours of the other heads of Tiamat. And the head itself, the helmet itself, is this beautifully sculpted dragon's head. And you can see that they have the visors shut. And Glory would tell you that in order to open the visor so you can see the face, you have to open the mouth. Yeah.
Nice.
It's really intimidating. But at the moment, you can just see, at first you think they're like dragon-styled warforged. They're standing just so still to attention. And there's about 8 of these, 4 on either side, flanking what seems to be the show in the middle. In the middle, you can see a man that is stripped to the waist, and you think at first that he's just wearing some sort of loincloth, but actually it seems to be torn trews that are in tatters around his legs. And the remarkable thing about this guy, he must be, well, I was about to say 120 pounds, but that doesn't say much to you guys. He's big. And he is made completely of metal. And I don't mean Warforged, I mean Colossus style from the X-Men. He's on his knees, and he is bound by this complex metal, this black metal contraption that is pulling his wrists to his ankles. And so he's on his knees, his arms are pulled back, and he's just kneeling there in front of 2 priestesses. One of them is a tall drow woman with a top knot, and she has a book, and she has just finished reading that just as you get around turn around the corner. And if you speak to Glory about it later on, Glory will point out to you that she was speaking out the judgments. Okay, so this is a set of threats that Tiamat made to her people, which is, you will be able to survive and you will be able to thrive, but you will be able to do so in the shadow of my glory. No pun intended. And those who defy me, those who disobey me, those who meet with my disapproval shall be obliterated and devoured. Yeah. So it's equal parts, hey, you're on the winning side, but fuck with me and I'll eat you. Mm-hmm. Typical kind of Tiamat motivation technique.
Great PR there.
She's just finished speaking this, and Glory knows you guys wouldn't have heard it over the rabble, but she would have been screaming it into the crowd in Draconic, which a lot of people in Atol Zaran actually speak. It's considered a status symbol. If you speak Draconic, it's like speaking Latin in
I was gonna say.
in early England. It was big news. If you spoke Latin, you were part of the upper echelons, you got better jobs, things like that. Same is true with Draconic here. If you don't speak Draconic, you're considered somewhat of a bit of a very low class. Now, you can prove otherwise by what you say and what you wear and what you own and all the rest of it, but they'll consider you extremely uncultured. With her is a dove grey skinned tiefling. Actually, probably a little darker than dove grey skinned tiefling. And she is wearing Tiamatian robes, clearly a priestess, and she walks with this same sashaying walk that you see from Glory up to the edge of the dais, and she says, "It has been said, as it has always been said, the price for failure, for dishonor, for sloth, and unproductive greed, and also," and she points to the guy, "heresy!" And at that point, the crowd goes crazy, absolutely crazy, and they're screaming, kill him, and she's just there, and she stands there with her fist, well, her pointing her finger, but her fist clenched as she points, and her hand is trembling with this zealous energy, and she says, "I will not look upon you, for you do not deserve for me to do so. You are charged with high heresy. You have been discovered raising a dragon cult here in Atol Zaran to another dragon. One who should be showing obeisance to the Queen. You have been revering his name in place of hers. Queen Tiamat is above all. She is above even the convocation itself. We are permitted only to show fealty and faith above Frania himself. And at that point, the crowd goes silent, and you can see that a bunch of people are kind of cowering at these words.
Who's this guy? Who's this girl? Well,
only
Karen knows the issue she is, but Eclipse doesn't.
Above Frania, above the convocation, there lies the Queen. And she places her hands up, creating the 5-headed goddess with both hands. And as she does so, you see everybody else puts up one hand. All the worshippers, because she's kind of doing it in 2 directions. But all the others put up one hand, outstretched with the 5 heads.
I kind of like take Gloria's arm and just down. just not now. It's like, let's not do like any salutes or anything.
I am looking around for farewell. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Thankfully, he's not within earshot, but I'm sure he's just felt the disturbance in the force. And she says, Armand Costa, you are guilty of high treason, judged and sentence delivered by us, the Inquisition of Tiamat. You have, through your various experiments in biomancy, given yourself a form that we cannot burn easily.
Oh,
there's jeers at this, as you know, the mention of biomancy. There's jeers and screams, and they're saying, there's people screaming suggestions. They're saying, pull him apart, bring the hammers, get him in a forge. And she goes, however,
throw a knife.
At this time, she turns around to him and says, I believe it's only a matter of time if I do this. And she places one finger on his forehead, and the man starts to scream. Immediately, there's a kind of spluttering on his forehead, and you can see that running down his face is not molten metal, but there's this white crust that is being made down the sides of this droplet. And she's a Tezcatlipoca, as some of you know as players, and some of you as characters. There's acid dripping down this guy's face. And then she just changes from putting the one finger on his head to putting a hand up high, once again making the Tiamat symbol, and then just placing it on his head. Keeping the hand outstretched so that the heads of the dragon are visible. And at this point, you can see it looks like that this metal man is sweating. And he's screaming and screaming and screaming. This beautiful shining body, now this rivulets of sweat just going down, and they're making the salt, because acid and metal creates salt.
Yes, it does.
In rivulets down his body. I was about to say, if I don't know that, I'm a chemist. And this guy just...
No, but it was funny because I did a practical on it with my students just like a couple of weeks ago, so that's
nice.
Yeah.
And the guy just screams and screams, and for glory, this is entertainment. People are cheering, people are screaming Tiamat's name, they're screaming heresy, some of them are singing in draconic hymns to Tiamat, and that it's the name of the hymn is once again, no pun, but it is glory in her name. And this guy just keeps writhing and screaming. There's tough black metal holding his wrists and his ankles tight, and as I say, guy's bare to the chest, and he goes from being this shining figure this walking, living statue,
Can
to
you
just
put him out of his
encrusted
misery?
with this stuff. And
No.
I'm going to fast forward past this. It takes about 3 minutes for the guy to die.
So you do know why we say that this society this religion is evil.
Well, yeah.
And the tiefling...
But this is prime entertainment here.
No.
I mean, look at them. The masses enjoy it.
They shouldn't. This is very wrong, Glory.
The ratings...
And I think you know it.
Millions.
And I think you know it.
Oh, I know.
Once the guy is quite clearly dead, she lifts her hand off his forehead and shows it to the crowd. Those of the faith, those born for power, those born for success, they are untouched by her power. They live by her decision, for she does not grant grace. And then she nods to one of the paladins. The paladin grabs a maul on the back, from his back, walks straight up and lobs the guy's head off. And as he hits it, you can tell the acid has done something to the metal, and it seems to have gone inside his body as well. Because when he hits it, there's this spray of salt, and it just into the crowd. It actually hits somebody in the crowd and does them quite a bit of damage. And you can you see this Goliath come up. It's hit him in the face. He spits out teeth and goes, "A blessing! A blessing!" And the grey-skinned tiefling turns to the drow and gives a nod and whispers to her. And the drow jumps off the dais with her elven grace. The crowd parts fervently so, both out of faith and of fear, and she walks straight to the Goliath. The priestess walks straight up to the Goliath with blood pouring down one side of his face. As I say, he's just spat out some teeth, and she's quite tall, this drow, almost as tall as the Goliath. And she walks straight up to him, puts a hand behind his head, pulls him in, and kisses him. She steps. She breaks off the kiss after just a couple of seconds, and you can see that there's blood down her face as well. And she takes him by the hand and leads him out of the crowd.
Weird.
A lot of people are clapping at this sight and cheering, and some of the jeers and laughter and exclamations are a little bit suggestive as well. And the drow and the Goliath walk past you guys out of the square, and as the drow does so, she stops for a minute, puts it like a finger on this bare-chested Goliath's frame, puts a single finger on his chest as if to say, "Stay there." She walks up to you, drops to her knees, and says, "The glory of Freynia, I am at your service."
Hello.
Hello. It's been a while. I have
means
known
your
you.
return is all the more celebrated.
Indeed.
This makes me so uncomfortable, Glory. Can you please make her stand?
Yes. You continue with your duties. We have someone else to talk to. And Glory will look towards the podium again.
The drow stands up. She places all 5 fingers at the tip, at the center of her forehead. Goes to place it on Glory's chest. Do you accept?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she gives you a nod, acknowledging that she's been dismissed. Grabs the Goliath by the hand and leads him away.
You get a somewhere like Farrell greatly disapproves somewhere.
Yeah. From somewhere, Farrell disapproves. Oh,
the
right.
crowd starts
I didn't
to disperse.
Explain it. I didn't explain it to you guys, right? Only the priestesses are allowed to bless a Tezcatlipoca. It's a status thing.
Alright, but it's still very, very weird and very, very evil.
Yes. But it is for the glory. That's everything. Now, I want to introduce you to someone.
Do you mean the weird girl on the podium?
Yes. Well, we're not going up on it, but we're going to it.
Great. Can't wait.
The crowd disperses and you're able to get closer to the dais. You can see that the grey-skinned tiefling has started performing a rite on the headless metal man. And this is a form of gentle repose. She doesn't want him raised back. And for her, it's a dark version of gentle repose, where she's sending his soul to be devoured.
You mean ceremony, not gentle repose?
Yeah, it is a ceremony. Yeah, so the ceremonies would probably be better. But yeah, it's a thing that stops him being raised from the dead, either as undead or to bring him back to life. She's commending his soul to the jaws of Tiamat.
Yeah.
And as you guys approach, she hasn't seen Glory yet. There's a moment where she just kind of twitches and goes and looks off to the side, almost like she detected that Glory was there. In all her fervor, she didn't feel it, Glory.
Oh.
But do you know that's because she was surrounded by other things?
Yeah.
And she just gasps and goes, and with grace that would put the drow to shame, runs off the edge of the dais and leaps off it in your direction. And as she does so, she billows out her cloak and glides gracefully, ethereally down right in front of Glory and embraces her like a long-lost lover.
Yep. Glory will just swing around with her, because that's just something they do, like,
and
oh
Glory
my god,
is very
you're
slightly
here.
taller as well, so
yes.
it works.
I take it it's a friend of yours, Glory.
Yes. Eclipse, Cora, meet Hope Tezcatlipoca, the hope of our generation, and my best friend.
She turns and says, that will be why she spoke out of turn. As a friend, you're forgiven. So...
Right. That's not weird.
And she
no
ignores you in a way that only the highborn can, and says very quietly to Glory, appearances. You understand. And she looks around, and you can see that even though the crowd is dispersing, many of the faithful are currently just looking at Hope, and they've pulled out little figurines of Tiamat, and they're gripping them white-knuckled in their hand, and they're going...
Of course, sweetie.
And they are repeating what you know. They are repeating the disciplines.
Shall we head for a better surrounding? I do believe our favorite tea shop is close by.
That would be delightful. I'm sure they'll make the back room free for us. And as she steps off, she says, all those in presence know that Tiamat approves of your faith and your loyalty. The fact that you pray here for her and for her to devour this usurper, this heretic, is noted by both your priestess and also by your lord. Go forth in safety. Go forth in safety. You do notice that when you say that, Eclipse, 3 of the paladins have looked straight at you with their...
I whispered it to Glory. I whispered it to Glory.
I am like jabbing her probably in the thigh when she says all of this stuff. It's just like, shut up.
Whispered.
Not the right time.
They look at you. They look at you even though you whispered.
I glide back. Like, I'm not taking any shit from these guys.
Even though you're in the presence of 2 Tezca,
we are in the middle of something here. You do not, not in front of them. Unless you want to just get acid dead like that guy. Not a good idea.
In the sequel, Eclipse goes to the Temple of Lolth and goes, spiders are shit!
Fuck spiders!
Eclipse, I think you will love their milk tea. It's just the most glorious thing, and I don't mean that lightly. Especially paired with your chocolate cake. Oh, and the matcha. That is... This way.
Right, and with that, let's take a break. Welcome back. So when we left off, you were all going to tea after witnessing the street entertainments in this delightful district. You go to what seems to be a quite old and well-established eatery. And when you get there, just a few words from these 2 Tezcacotls is enough to churn somebody out of one of the private rooms upstairs. You get taken up, and a beautiful high tea is presented before you. Small, delicate, beautiful sweetmeats that are lush with gold leaf and other such delicate details that you know would cost a fortune. You remember things being...
Cora in this. Cora must be so uncomfortable.
You remember things being opulent in the Green Organization, Cora. This is almost disgusting in its level of detail and application of wealth. the tea is brought, and I say by tea, there are several of them. Simple kind of Darjeeling tea and black tea is not the thing here. And there are fruit teas, light leaf teas. There's some that you don't even recognize. One of them seems to be made out of a vibrant yellow powder. And it's this one that Hope chooses. And she does a quick blessing over the food. Glory, you know this is a blessing that gets rid of any poison. And she says, the Queen bids us eat. And at that point she goes, and now I'm taking this damned headdress off. Ah! And she pulls off the crest of her priestess garb and embraces Glory once more, and then gives her a mock slap across the face and goes, you left me to be all grown up and responsible whilst you went gallivanting across the plain.
Well, to be fair, you're not allowed to leave. Otherwise, you could have come with me.
There's a moment where, even though she's gone casual, she's still a Tezcatlipoca and has the same kind of thing. And there's a crack in the armor, and there's this almost childlike, but I want to pet the puppy kind of look on her face as she considers that she could have just jumped on the ship when you did. And
I mean, you're welcome to come with us back if you really want to. I wouldn't stay here if I was you.
she completely ignores you and says, no, I am the Hope. It
I
is
know.
my duty.
And I am Glory.
I haven't changed, but I've learned how to be
Cult.
To be both of us. To be, and she gestures at herself, and then she gestures at the headdress that she's placed on just a little table to the side. And then this moment of solemnity drops, and she just starts laughing and goes, God, listen to me. I promised I wouldn't end up with these diatribes like Ideal. Although I do know where she gets them from now. There's just so much work, so much stress. There's just, there
so
are so
much
many...
torturing, so much killing. Yay!
There's so much work to do. That everywhere you'll find people who are being disobedient, people who are being lazy, and you've got to drive them for own good.
Talk about disobedient. You should have seen the sight when we showed up yesterday afternoon. This priest shows up and asks me to take the knee. I mean, who does he think he is? Trying to grab some glory from that? Ew.
Glory, you're being very, very weird.
I'm sure. And once again, for every time you cut in at the moment, Eclipse, she is just acting as if you don't exist. And she says, oh, yes.
If she keeps not acting like I don't exist, I'm going to steal her purse.
Oh, how was it, Nick? Oh, Nick, it was great. Yeah, no, we're all dead, but it was good.
Oh, not everyone would be dead. Glory would be alive.
You don't need to make Hope, they said. You don't have to write her character sheet out. You don't have to choose her spells for the day, they said.
Well, she didn't stop ignoring me.
Are you trying to steal her purse?
No, I said if she keeps ignoring me for a period of time, Eclipse is gonna do something stupid. So that is a warning for Glory to might cut in.
Okay.
A warning to your future self, or?
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you about what we've been up to. See, Eclipse over
please,
here.
It's far more interesting than my diatribe.
Yes.
Please.
So, I've been in Ostergold, as you know. You've gotten my letters, right? I believe Seer was the last one who dropped one up for me because I noticed the flowers. They were very sweet.
Yes.
Now, Ostergold is quite interesting place because they think they're all fancy, but they're really not, you know? And so I was rummaging around as I do, flirting with the ladies, finding out information as usual.
Yeah.
And so they've been exporting a shit ton of Residium, and I got curious because that's an import for them. So we've been digging and we found this institute where they were harvesting demons for red Residium and then cleaning it, so to say.
We blew it to Kingdom Come.
Yes, we blew a crater so big that it created a new, like, lake area. Like, the entire mountain range is gone. I am so proud of that one. Even Insight was impressed by it.
Sister, well, you're certainly living up to your name as well. I was about to say that you're slumming it, but you changed some geology with an explosion?
Well, we all did.
Yes.
That's
quite
fabulous.
impressive.
That will definitely have to be sung out in the praises tonight. But
So you were going to include all of us, yeah, in the thing, because it was a group effort. It was not just Glory.
And you should hear.
I want to go back to this residuum.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Insight is going to be more interested in it than I. But the red residuum that you call it, it goes by another name. Insight, I'm sure, would be able to provide it. But it's a practice that we know of in theory, but don't really employ in practice. It's unstable.
Yes, we noticed. All the researchers had been taken over by demons.
Yes,
no,
so
that's a byproduct. That's a byproduct. That's a side effect. They were collecting.
Not side effect. It's demons, and then they were taken over by demons, obviously, because they were dealing with demons that they were trying to siphon off their energy from, which is stupid in the first place. And then they got what they were bargaining for. So it's not weird.
Are you quite finished?
Oh, yay, you talk to me. Hooray! Glory, she's not very nice. I don't understand why you like her.
I will have to address you first then, seeing that you seem to be quite the attention seeker.
Well, I'm in the habit of actually being spoken back to when I speak to someone.
You're in the habit of talking whether somebody wants you to or not. And not necessarily about the subjects that anybody's talking about, but let's not be marred by that.
I've been speaking about every subject that
You've been speaking about heresy since the moment you came into my presence. You've ended up putting both myself and my dear cousin on the line. We listen to everything. The paladins listen to everything. You came into a square whereas I was in the middle of executing a heretic, somebody who would have created far more deaths due to Tiamat's wrath. I was cutting him off so that other people didn't have to die for the folly that he had, that they wouldn't follow him into her jaws. And what happens? What is the intelligent thing for you to do, my dear kitty? You end up committing the same heresy within earshot of an Inquisition mob. You fool!
Because it's stupid! That you are here in this city and how are you buying this? The reason why you had to kill this person is because you followed the stupid religion in the first place. If you didn't follow it, you wouldn't have to kill all these people.
Glory?
Yes.
Normally your stay here, your welcome here, would be longer. By midnight, this creature will be gone, or she will be dead.
You can't tell me what to do.
I can kill you right here, right now, if I so wish.
I'd like to see you try.
Keep your tongue, or I will find many ways to kill you, and I will kill you.
Oh,
You do not have...
Stop, please, stop. She doesn't know what she's doing.
And with that, Eclipse disappears.
Oh,
do I
dear.
get a save?
What did you
Nope.
do?
No save at all. I mean, if you want to roll a save right now, roll a dice and give me a natural 20 right now, because that's the only thing that will beat this DC.
Fuck were you doing?
It's a 17.
You've disappeared. You're gone. You find yourself in a dark, damp place. No light whatsoever. You feel around on the floor, and you can feel stonework beneath you. There's a smell of damp, and there's a smell of rotting meat. You've been warned time and time again by a high priestess of Tiamat not to commit heresy, and she was telling you, she was trying to help you, telling you that in an evil society which everybody is scared of Tiamat, including Hope, including Glory, you kept pressing her and saying, do it, do it, do it. And so she did it. She did what you want. And now you are currently in an oubliette underneath the palace in Kotal. Okay?
Well,
why do you have her? What's that?
No, I just want to point out that there's a 20 total if that's a wisdom save or a charisma, but yeah.
No, this is top level. This is a level 20 character. She's not level 20. Hope isn't level 20.
I was gonna say Hope is.
No, but Ideal is, and she just channeled her high priestess. And the high priestess went, yeah, sure, you want to put someone in a dungeon? Fine, I extend to you the power of Tiamat, and you've just gone bamf. That was a DC of 30 to resist that spell.
What did you just do?
She is put in a place where she will learn some manners. And hopefully, I have just saved her life.
Yes. Oh, I told Eclipse not to overdo it. Even Insight warned them.
Cora, you're a visitor here, much like Eclipse was. She's now a prisoner, not a guest. If I was to go from here, bedecked as I am, I hold the mantle of Tiamat. I follow her ways. I serve her people. I keep the covenant between Tiamat and her people so that she doesn't bring down a curse upon the entire land, killing us all. This is who I am. This is the path that I was set. If I was to go from here right now, to the imperial city of Vardencourt, where you come from, and I was to walk up the steps of the Temple of Pelor, or the Temple of Bahamut, or the Temple of Erathis, what would happen to me? I don't need the answer. I would be taken and slaughtered because I am unrepentant in the teachings of the Dragon Queen. This is the world I live in. This is how it works. And you know what? I agree with it. I have seen the terrible things that are out there. Now, you can disagree with me, as Mr. Barebones disagrees with me. But I would say one thing. He came into this land, yes, under the protection of my dear cousin, who is as a sister to me, but he came in bearing the symbol of the Raven Queen.
We did not know we were coming here.
No, he didn't. And I'm not blaming him. I'm saying to you, He came in bearing that symbol, and he has been given nothing but hospitality. And you know what? In return, he has heeded our warning. And he has, yes, he can't stop his look of disagreement, but we don't ask for people to believe different to us. We ask our faithful to be faithful. But if an ambassador comes here, as we now consider you all to be, all we ask is respect. Respect that this is our culture. This is how we live. Now, whether you think it could be better or worse, fine. You know what? I can even, in my capacity as a priestess, say to you, hey, you might be right. Eclipse might be right. But do you know what I don't have? The capacity or even the option to entertain that thought for a second.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and she points down at the people below, Eclipse has been heard. My hands are tied. The servants have heard. She wasn't exactly quiet about her criticism.
I thought we were in a private room, which is why I was talking like that.
Yes, but the servants that are coming in and out and all the rest of it. Everybody, even in private rooms, is spied upon. There's a reason why we live in our own demoplane. We have a townhouse that I believe you spent a comfortable night in.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a demiplane so that people have trouble looking in, and yet it's part of the game that people do. Not for very long if we find them, but it is part of the game. Mr. Barebones is a man of great faith. I could tell by the look on his face when I met him. But he knows better than to try to evangelize an entire district, an entire city, or a high priestess. I shall do what I can for Eclipse, but I have just given her the best chance of survival. I will aim for her to be exiled from Atalzaran.
Yes,
that will
would
probably
be...
require an apology for her for disrespecting our culture. She shall not be allowed in the presence of his lordship. I fear that her lack of self-control will mean that she will be ended by him. And once we are completed, she will be taken by the paladins with you to one of the transmission rooms, and you shall be taken back to where you belong.
It's probably for the best.
Yes,
I ask that you don't put yourself in the same position. If
I don't plan to.
More of you were to confirm her behaviors, it would make my job harder. I will posit that Eclipse of the Moon is a servant that doesn't know her station, whereas Ambassador Barebones is an ambassador of Cord and has shown respect.
Not Cord.
Sorry, not Cord. God, I've got Cord on the brain these days, haven't I? Is an ambassador of the Raven Queen and has shown respect. That one of the staff that came with you at Tabaxi was unable to perform the same level of etiquette.
Maybe under a spell? Would that help?
Under a spell?
I don't know. That she was saying things that weren't herself. I'm just trying to help her and you.
That would be a lie. At the moment, as far as Atalzaran is concerned, Eclipse is one of Glory's servants, and until stated otherwise, technically so are you. You're here. She's noble. You're not. Don't be offended. It's
No.
a good defense. It's the basis under which you're all defended.
Sure.
We've had to extend ambassadorial status to Mr. Barebones after his little warning.
Do you know
I
where
feel that
Farewell is? We haven't seen him all day. In
her
fact,
eyes glaze over and she says, he's currently speaking to a Maradanite.
okay. So he's okay.
Yes. There is an artisan within the city, a dwarf. And I believe Mr. Barebones was walking down the street when he saw the symbol of Maradan on one of the shops. He was confused, walked in and asked why there was a Maradan symbol. And the dwarf told him that he paid a great amount of money to come here and learn under the masters. He had to be heavily vetted, of course, and we even extended him by royal decree that he was allowed to give put the maker's symbol upon his shop without there being a declaration of heresy, because he is an international trader and not a member of our society. A guest.
Okay.
We do have some of those. There's a lot of travelers coming here.
We
Just
are very
most
heavy on
have
trade
more
and excellence.
tact.
Excellence is our passion here. We try to excel at
Yes.
everything that we do. And every time she says excellence, she looks at Glory as if to say, yes, I've heard. So, I believe I was saying about this residuum.
Mhm.
The residuum itself is not... Well, the demons themselves are a byproduct of the process. They can make this material based on the intelligence that we got so far from Insight. You understand, this is not something we knew before. It's from what we've got from you. This type of tainted residuum can be created from any life. I don't know, we haven't been able to see all the conversations you've had and all the rest of it, but I'm hoping you came to the same conclusion. The demons were a convenient source, I believe, an
Yes.
ethical source by whoever was attempting this green organization, I'm assuming?
Mhm.
We saw strange symbols, but they were green. They were
Yes.
gold. They weren't... Okay.
They were
Uh,
from the green. We're still a bit confused over that. Can you believe they took 3 weeks of my memory? Someone needs to burn. I don't know who yet, but I believe it was the guy we killed. So that's
well,
already
that's going to be
taken care of.
particularly hard. That's going to be particularly hard to punish him. We could raise him and punish him and then put him back
Well,
into death.
I did
if you wish.
throw
It was a
an
mind
immense
flare.
amount of acid on him.
A mind flare.
Yeah,
Mind
they used
flare
the mind
actually
flare.
took our memories, but I don't know. We never saw everyone in the facility, dead or alive. So, but
If you can provide some form of, just in case this mind flare wasn't at ground zero when the explosion went off, I would prefer if you can give me as much information as you can. If this mind flare is still in existence, we will make sure that correct procedures will be followed.
okay, don't freak out. And I'm gonna turn into the mind flare with this guy's self.
Nice.
She doesn't freak out at all, and she goes, "A woman of some talent." And she looks, now that you've kind of gone whoop, and you're up here, she looks you not from head to toe, but well above your head to your toes, and goes, "Now that I've seen him, I can scry for him.
Yes.
That's what I hoped.
I shall find him. Would you like him packaged, or would you like him simply dealt with?"
Just deal with him.
Can we? Well, I personally would like to know where they are and who is around them, because they are not the only person involved here. So
that is true.
We want to know.
But I'm sure that everyone in their presence will be.
Well, it depends. I mean, what if he's sitting in the office of Miss Green? We want to know that.
Oh, she's been hounded lately. One of my lovely ladies scried upon her. Apparently, she's being hounded by debt collectors for the Institute. I was going to talk about it later, and Farewell could join us.
Oh, interesting.
Probably a conversation that Mr. Barebones will be most interested in. I believe he will have to start applying some divine law in his own district.
Yeah.
I do believe
what
so.
What we can do for this mind flayer is perform an extraction. We'll find out where he is, and we would probably have to go through the consortium for a contract such as this, but we can quite happily...
These guys? And Glor pulls out her consortium missile.
For the first time, you pull out this scroll and you're like, oh, yeah, maybe I should have answered some of these messages. There's a whole list of messages.
Yeah, that's been a while. But you said I would get a ping.
Yeah, you did get a ping, and then you forgot about the ping because you had your memory wiped.
Oh, right.
And the most of the messages are crossed out to the point where you can't see the writing anymore. It's kind of smudged. And at the end, it says, please report to your consortium handler. And then it just, and the guy,
Whoops.
Go back to him. And it's just like, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, you have one of those. You're playing that game.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. We went to a ball. Or a soiree, more like it. I had a really nice dress. It was fun.
Oh, you have to show me sometime.
Fun.
So,
anyways, we can put that away. We don't have to deal with
the mind
it.
flayer is not beyond our reach, and it's within our interests to be able to do so. I wouldn't normally offer this, but he may have information about this technology that we can
use.
Don't give the information to
at least
them.
remove.
So we know that this is a foolish way to make residuum. There are lots of ways that you can do so. You can distill it from certain creatures like elementals without having it being tainted in this way. This is an affront to the cascade. Oh, hang on. Sorry, Cora, did your priestess tell you about the cascade? And do me a religion check.
Oh.
Just say that to me. Like, just Hope just say that. What does she mean by
Glory
my priestess?
She's assuming that you have a priestess, because why would you have a priest? They're just there for the legwork. So she just assumes that you have a powerful priestess figure looking after you as she looks after her flock. And so she's just named priestess instead of priest. It's like, someone turning around and saying... It's like someone turning around and saying, who is your vicar, assuming you have a vicar.
Right, okay.
She's just assumed you have a priestess.
Okay. Sorry, did you want me to roll, did you say?
Yeah. Right,
yes,
what was this roll? Sorry. I'm not paying attention enough. Religion roll, right. So, I think my religion is nothing because it's, 13, that is.
13? I'll allow it, because this religion check was trying to remember one of the many, many things that Farewell Barebones has said to you over the years. And there's a lot of it. So, yes, you remember that the Cascade is it's the source of souls in the world. The Cascade is something that the good gods and bad gods, because at one point, good and bad didn't really exist. There was just gods. It was all very new for them, and this is the most approximate thing that they can tell you, is that at one point there were gods, and then later on good and evil was defined. But a lot of creation was done just from these beings that came into being. Yeah, and they were still trying to figure shit out for themselves. And the good gods and evil gods together, because they were just the gods back then, created a masterpiece so perfect and so powerful that it would take all of them in unison to destroy it again. And that is the Cascade. The Cascade is a waterfall, is the best way I can think of it. A waterfall of souls, just constantly creating souls. And when bodies are created...
souls? I wrote salt.
Souls.
Okay, souls.
Yeah, I heard salt for the first half too. So...
So it's this huge cascade of souls that provides souls, and it's always running at the right level, so that whenever procreation goes on and a body is created, that a soul just drops in and inhabits it. Yeah. This is a very poetic way of describing something that cannot be described. To borrow the phrase from Good Omens, it's an ineffable explanation. So they've had to put this poetry to it to explain it, and this beautiful production of souls, good souls, evil souls, although they're kind of just raw materials.
They're just souls.
Going into creatures that turn out to be good and evil and all the rest of it. They start off just as these motes of light that, and again, this is poetry speaking because there's no way of describing it. Consider it as motes of light that just cascade from the astral sea into the forms that they are able to pilot in what is loosely referred to as life. And she says the cascade is pure, both for the gods on both sides. Tiamat herself would consider this an affront. We would be punished by Tiamat if we were to do this horrible, horrible thing. There are some reckless gods that may approve of it. Torog would not care, for example. Pharazun, the chained god, would not care because of their nature. They are true chaos. We follow Tiamat. She is of law. So there would be some gods that would not rebel at this, but the majority of them would. My goddess included. We would never do this because her punishment would be severe.
It is better for the knowledge to be in the hands of those who wouldn't use it than the ones currently having it.
I can almost guarantee that once Frania hears of this, he will set you on the task of destroying this technology wherever you find it, destroying any source of books. You will have to get Mr. Farewell's a sense of this, but I have a feeling he will agree with us. Sorry, Mr. Barebones. Agreement with this, but I have a feeling he will agree. This is forbidden knowledge. Known in theory to exist,
anyone should know it, as you say.
Exactly.
Then we're in agreement.
Yeah.
In this, we are in alliance.
Absolutely. This goes beyond anything, and there is a big task ahead to try and destroy all that is being done here.
Yes.
Whoever is responsible for this, they believe that the application of demons made this ethical. We deal with demons. We deal with demons. Deal with devils. Fiends of all shapes and sizes. We know that they play a game much like our own. It's a dangerous game. More often than not, an ill-advised game. There are necessary evils in which we will perform this. Anybody who is not considered talented enough who performs this is punished for just sheer recklessness and stupidity. But even this is not a suitable application even for demons. They are fundamentally going against the design that the gods set in place for this plane of existence. their hubris is more dangerous than any dragon or demon or anything like that.
What reason does anyone need so much residuum for? I mean,
Money?
Greed.
Power? It's pure power, Residium. You saw what happened when you threw that spell in the room where we might have accidentally knocked about, was it 8k gold worth of Residium on the floor and it just poofed up?
Yeah, I kind of threw a spell.
It sure blew the place up and everything that was trying to kill us in it, but...
I still feel affected by that too. Yeah, well, I think we're all feeling the effects.
Look over when you have the time, because we are slightly concerned with the after effects.
Sorry, you've just made me a very happy DM. Cora, do you believe that you've been tainted in some way?
I feel like we... Yeah. I mean, gotta remember what I
you turn invisible.
Oh, ethereal, yeah.
Intangible, yeah. You turn intangible.
But it almost happened. So, would I...
You felt yourself dropping, but you've managed to stay up, so to say.
Yes, so I guess so I would have an inkling that might be to do with it. So, I can... after that happened, when we were fighting at the end, at one point when someone hit me, it felt like I suddenly wasn't there. I can turn invisible, but this wasn't that. It was like I was disappearing to, I don't know, just not quite here. And it didn't happen, but it felt like that might happen again.
Will you accept a gift? A blessing? Yes, a blessing powered by a dark goddess, but I only wish to cleanse you of any ill effect. And there's no quid pro quo here, no bargain, no deal. You're already my ally, and I want you to be at full strength.
Okay.
You have my oath. May Tiamat take my soul and give it eternal agony, that I only wish to cleanse you of any ill effect.
Go for it.
By the power of the Queen, in the name of my Lord Frenya, I bid you be cleansed of all wrongdoing upon you. And she uses a 7th level spell, and the effect that you had before is now removed.
Is anything else removed? Or suddenly panicking that she can't. Is Iowyn still there? Is
let's see. Do you have any other curses?
No, not curse. Well, I don't know. Do I?
No.
No. The only other thing you have is your memory loss, and that cannot be removed as a curse because that's gone. She can't restore that. So you no longer have the intangibility problem.
I am assuming I probably feel something has changed, like I wasn't feeling very well and it's gone or something, there would be something to indicate that this might be gone.
Yeah, when the blessing goes off, you can hear, as if from very, very far away, the cry of the mightiest dragon you've ever imagined. There's a sudden moment of terror and dread in your heart, and yet it feels kind of cool.
Glory?
Your adrenaline is pumping, it's like a drug, but you're kind of fearful as well.
Maybe don't tell Farewell that I just did that. Thank you.
My lips are sealed, sweetie.
Hope tries to not show her amusement at this and says, so, we would like to know one thing. And this is what I was trying to get at before my little spat with your cat.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the cat, she's gonna, because I have a climb speed, I'm gonna try to climb out of the oubliette if I can.
You
because
suddenly
I have no...
You suddenly realize why an oubliette is called an oubliette. With your climb speed, you go up the bottle dungeon and climb right back down the other side.
Is there a door anywhere?
Nope. No door. This is an oubliette in a land where magic exists. The only way in and out of here is teleportation.
Well, I have dark vision anyway, so I can see in it. That was one mistake you made.
Can dark vision see in absolute darkness?
Yes.
You can see the very, very large stone slabs that is now your home until further notice. I have to say, there's times when as a DM you have to think fast. I was like, okay, I have to find a way not to kill a player character over an argument.
I was maybe just about to hold person. It was too late.
So she says, right, what we're interested in is the technology that they've clearly developed to turn this tainted residuum, marked with the color of blood by the gods themselves, to this. And she reaches into a pouch and pulls out shining gold residuum. We mine it, we distill it. You can create it magically by applying your magic. You can sell your magic. You can give it form. By enchanting a substance over and over again, it becomes residuum. Some people just do this. It fetches a good price. They're selling this gold residuum.
Yes.
It shines. It glows faintly in the darkness. This is what they're selling. I agree with Glory. It is out of greed and power that they wish to do this. We create residuum, but we fashion it into items of great arcane power. We use it to trade. We use it to gain riches ourselves. We make an economy out of it. We make weapons of great power, yes, that take many, many years to create. By the sounds of it, they're looking for a fast and mass-produced version.
Yes.
And this is, I guess, one of the reasons why I agree with my society so much. And I do want you to listen to this, Cora, because Glory's heard it many times before. For all of the terror and for all of the acts that the Queen has done and that we have done in her name, I can guarantee you that you will find no greater evil than in the hearts of men. And women and all genders in between. My point is that mortals create evil. It's so easy to blame it on a god. My god is a dragon. A dragon is a dragon is a dragon. Regardless of whether you think that she's a good dragon or a bad dragon, or you agree on her social policies or not, it's how a person decides that matters. It is why, in a way, I respect Eclipse. I think she's a fool, but I respect her faith, her ideals. One of the reasons why I don't want to kill her right now, as amusing as it would be, is that you're going to need someone like that with you.
And she's quite amusing overall, too. She brought us to a dungeon that had the living dead. It was fun.
I'll be sure to use that in the reasoning that Grandfather's Glory finds her amusing. In the road ahead, you're going to need one thing above all else. And it's something that we at least have in common. Faith. Faith is what stops you from being a reduction, a toxic spiral. With responsibility, with following the social contract, whether it be the contract of your country or the contract of mine, we can at least exist in fairness and in function. I'm sure that if she were here, Eclipse would be telling me that her good gods work with generosity and productivity and constructive behaviors and all that other stuff that I'm sure is usurped by the greedy at every turn. Here, the greedy are brought out onto the streets. We give them titles. We bring them out in the light of day. True love, true happiness, true worth. And at this point, her hand goes across the table and she grips hold of Glory's hand. Again, with this kind of almost long-lost lover kind of energy to it. She grips Glory's hand tight. Love here shines the brightest. There is no false thank you. There is no false please. There is no etiquette that makes one person pretend to be someone else's friend. Yes, we play up the flirting and the compliments and things like that, but only a fool would see that this isn't done as part of that game. We are strangely honest in our deceptions. When we prove to somebody, it means something.
Here you know that everyone's out to get you. Can't really say the same for Ostergold.
I'm not here to evangelize you, but just consider what I say. Eclipse will be useful in the days to come if she learns when to put her zealot nature into practice. She will say things, do things, not stand for things that I'm sure have been explained away. Ethics, to use your word, the word from your country, that get eroded away by twisted logic after twisted logic after twisted logic. We want people to excel here, to be strong, to be powerful, to rise. But we're not going to give them the means to do so with no price. Everyone here has to be beholden to someone else. The transaction's clean. Whenever somebody's against you, the game is on, and the rules of the game are clear set. This is something that is at the heart of what is wrong and what is corrupt in Ostergard. You have laws in Ostergard. I respect that. If I visited there, I would follow them to the letter. There are social contracts, conventions, expectations, lines that should never be crossed, no matter how long a parliament or politician goes on and justifies it.
True. But there aren't slaves there.
To be fair, most of them chose it. I mean, a lot of people would do practically anything to get up in society. Especially the scholars. You'd be surprised at how many scholars actually write away their life's work just for the chance to study here.
Well,
there's a price. Some people pay it in gold, others pay it in extreme acts. Some people pay it with all they have left, and that is their devotion and their time. Time is an asset. You come from, what was it called? Freeville?
Freetown.
Freetown, that's it. You saw the mortality there. People died quicker, easier there than within the walls, did they not?
Yes.
Think of time as an asset. When you are born, you have a certain amount of time. You can invest in that time and lengthen it. You can train to be more powerful so that the dangers of the world are less likely to hurt you. You can keep yourself healthy. You can keep yourself fed. You can keep yourself... Do I need to go on? And you grow that time like money. It grows with your investment in yourself. Think of that time. If you had nothing else, that time is something that you can trade for. Some people, it's a job. They give a certain amount of time per week. These people have given a length of servitude to us. If you want, go to any slave that you find here in Atal Zaran and ask to see their contract. You will find that that contract has been signed by all parties, the slave themselves, and it's been ratified by the ombudsman.
Well, what
Once
other
they pay
choice
off
would
their
they
debt,
have?
they're done. Failure, weakness, an early death. There are slaves that work under our family who live in the best possible dwelling, in absolute safety, knowing that anybody who was to harm them would befall our wrath. Instant protection, good food, a warm house. Even our servants have good cotton sheets, well-made clothing, magical protections half the time, training. One of my, let's call them slaves, we prefer servant, but it is technically slavery, I guess. When one of our slaves, who is due to finish her contract in 3 years' time, is finished, she will have, as a reference, years of servitude for one of the most powerful, noble families in the country. She has done things for us, worked in affairs of state. She has helped cater for lords, queens, elder dragons. She can pretty much write her ticket after that. And because we're not in the habit of creating more enemies than we already have, we've treated her well. She only fears the punishment of failure that we all do as well. When people look at us and they cast their eyes down, they do so because they know that we are as bound as they are. That if they fail, we must punish them because that is how our society works. To punish failure, to make them try harder next time, to make sure that things like sloth do not exist. And, as I say, feel free to disagree. But if you turned round to any servant in our care and said that you were about to buy out their contract, and I will let you. In fact, I will give you the money to buy out the contract of any one slave that you find in Atal Zaran. Go up and ask them. I, of course, do not count criminal indentured in that. Anyone with a criminal certificate serves their sentence. If that's life, it's still life. But any paid contract, go up to any slave, ask them for their contract, they will have it on them. And tell them that you will pay their contract off today. And I will get the money and the means to make it so. And ask them if they want it. And I ask you to study them. Study them. And I want you to determine, are they going to say no because they fear us? Or are they going to say no because they don't yet have the opportunity to succeed elsewhere? And this is not even a gift. Consider it a lesson of Bahamut. A way of maybe making you into more of an ambassador than you already are.
Just going to correct you that it's Simon, unless Hope said that. Tiamat?
I hope
Not
not.
Bahamut? You said Bahamut.
Tiamat.
Just checking. She didn't just out
It is
herself.
Tiamat. Yeah.
Oh god.
Cool.
Unless,
You're not used to playing evil.
Yeah, sorry. I've been Raven Queen, Cord, and Bahamut. And I've been a priest of Ioun once or twice, but that's about it. So yeah, having to do this much Tiamat dialogue, yeah. But I'm enjoying it. Wow. I mean, Eclipse did what Eclipse had to do. She played to character,
Yeah.
and it was blissfully perfect. But yeah. And I'm glad that she gained a little bit of a win here. That she managed to get a blessing on Cora. She's gonna chalk that up to a one step in the right direction.
Yeah.
So yes, one slave in Athel's Ran, and you can free them, and I will pay the contract.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyway, I feel like I can't take this headdress off at the moment. And she pats the headdress on the seat next to her and says, let's talk of brighter things. And the rest of the beautiful high tea, by the way, Kate, the very finest. You're tasting things that you have no idea what they are, but they are making you salivate. And the rest of it is fashion, gossip. Some of the gossip you're there like, oh, I don't get what's so important. And there's other gossip where you're like, I can't unhear these things. And everything in between. And you watch as Glory and Hope devolve into being these schoolgirls again. These teenage girls sat on one another's bed, deconstructing the entire day of gossip about their training, their future, family matters, boys, girls, everything in between.
What a dick Excellences has been written lately, etc.
Yeah, all of that stuff. And you pretty much end up being like a spectator for this part here because you have nothing to contribute.
No, I feel like at certain times I'm probably going to end up having a conversation in my head with Eowyn about what we're watching and be like, what do you think of that? Oh my god.
I forget you can have a telepathic narrative, can't you? Sorry, commentary, not narrative.
We're just nattering about that and nattering about the fact that the dream from last night and that Farewell still is not here and she still needs to tell him. All that stuff.
Yeah.
So the events go on, and there is one bit of narrative I'm going to have to figure out, so I'm going to think on that one.
I'm not sure we can get that headband for Eclipse when she's locked up.
Yep, you've hit the nail on the head. I'll have to do some creative DMing between this session and next.
Maybe that's the justification. She needs a band of intelligence to know not to speak in front of people who are going to chop your head off instantly.
Well, Glory, the way I see it is that Glory has the information to go off on the mission. The mission is pretty much go up there, snatch it off his head, and walk away. It's obviously not going to be as easy as that. But with Eclipse and an oubliette, I might just ask Corinne to roll up like a temporary character that's just a friend of Glory's so that she can be in that encounter. Then she can jump back into Eclipse later when she gets exiled from Atazaran.
She could play Seer or Soar.
I've got sleight of hand in various things.
They work under Hope.
Yeah.
If she feels
we will
like
have
it.
that conversation, I think, at after the end of the...
What about Dwarf Guy?
Oh, fuck no.
Could well be, yeah. We will see. We'll discuss that with Corinne, because she shouldn't be punished for what was some amazing role-playing.
Yeah.
Some, fuck you, I am going to stick to my character role-playing. It shouldn't be punished. We punish the character, not the player.
Yes.
So
cool.
So we're going to cut it short there. And we will start off with this in next session. Okay. So take care, everybody, and we will see you for next session. Good night.
Bye.